Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Heidi Davila. I am the college counselor at Capistrano Valley High School, and I am part of the Futurology team. And I am so excited to be here with you today. We are still having people join us and jump in even now. So I am excited to get started. You should be able to see my screen right now. And we're going to start off with just some housekeeping items. Anytime you see the little icon with a little chain, that means that we have linked a website to that particular section of the presentation. And so keep an eye out for that. When we send out the recording of this webinar, we will send out the PDF file of the presentation and you'll be able to access those links. Also, your cameras and microphones are turned off, so you will not be able to see yourself or you won't be able to speak into your microphone. However, you will be able to utilize the Q&A feature and ask any questions that you might have. We do ask that you hold on to your questions until the end of the presentation. Once we've gone through the presentation, it's very likely that we'll cover a lot of material that will answer some of your questions. And if that's not the case, please submit your questions and we'll get to them. My goal is to end at around with our presentation at 5:20 and allow 10 minutes of answering your questions. So this is the entire Futurology team. There is a college counselor at every one of our high schools. And so that's all of us. Tonight, here with me is Ms. Nicole Rengifo, who is part of our Futurology team. She is our college counselor at Dana Hills High School. And then we also have Ms. Summer Yim, who is part of our CCA team, and I'll allow her to introduce herself in just a bit. So we, as a Futurology team, are college and career counselors. We are credentialed counselors. We are data-driven. We're constantly looking at data to identify the needs on our campuses, our district, and attempting to come up with the supports and services to meet those needs. And we are available to students for individual appointments. We work very closely with our high school counselors, and we provide classroom presentations to students and anything that is related to the college and career planning process. This is the agenda for today. We're going to be touching on our College and Career Advantage program. So you're going to learn about that, as well as post-secondary options. We're going to talk about graduation requirements and A through G eligibility briefly. We're going to go into just generally college admissions and some timelines that you want to keep in mind, especially right now that you have a 9th or 10th grader. And we're going to talk about community college dual enrollment. And finally, we'll touch on some resources that you have available through our Futurology program. So I'm going to actually now pass it on to Miss Summer Yim, who is here representing our College and Career Advantage program.
Hello, good evening. My name is Summer Yim. I'm a career guidance specialist at Capital Valley High School, and I wanted to share some information with you tonight for your 9th and 10th graders related to College and Career Advantage and CTE. So College and Career Advantage, just a little background, is the educational organization that provides career technical education at all of the comprehensive high schools. And we have a team to serve all of your students. Lynn Bell is at San Juan Hills High School. I'm here at Capital Valley. Samantha Furlick is at Aliso Niguel High School in Tesoro. And Ashley Ikes is at Dana Hills High School and San Clemente High School. And we are all here to support your students in a few different ways. We want to connect them to appropriate career technical education, help them explore different community college, certificate, or trade programs after high school, help them work on interviews and building a resume, as well as just learning more about what their own strengths are and how those strengths and interests connect to careers. At each of our sites, we do have we have a great college and career center where we work side by side with the Futurology counselors. And then just a little bit more about College and Career Advantage and CTE, or career technical education. Our electives are unique in a way that they are always going to provide a career-related aspect to our courses. They're going to be hands-on, have project-based learning, give students a chance to explore something in depth while they're in high school to determine if they may want to major that in college or pursue that as a career after high school. Our electives will often allow students the chance to earn college credit or an industry certification. So there's some unique components to our classes. On this QR code and the link, you will find more information on your specific school site as to what courses and pathways are available at each of the high schools. So please take time to explore that. And if you have any questions related to any of them, you can always connect back with your career guidance specialist at their school site. And just a little bit more how those pathways work. You'll hear a lot about career pathways in the world of CTE. The state of California has determined 15 different industry sectors, and all of our classes will fit into a pathway, which then fits into an industry sector. And a couple of examples of that on this screen would be in our after-school courses. For example, we have a 2-year vet program in the upper left-hand corner, and that 2-year program would be the animal science pathway, which is part of the agricultural and natural resources industry. So you can see different schools have different offerings. Something that's offered during the school day would be the sports medicine classes that fall under the patient care pathway. Again, lots of information, too much to cover tonight, but just to familiarize you and your students with that a little bit. And the reason why we love to talk to the lower grades or younger grades especially is it gives you time, if you do see something of interest, to complete that pathway, because often they are 2 or 3-year programs. So we want you to have time to really explore that to its full completion if you would like to. All right, and while a lot of our courses are part of the school day, and those are things you can check with us or your counselor, how to add those into your school schedule, we do have classes that are specifically offered after school, and that process to request is a little bit different. So I'm just going to mention that briefly. Your students will often see this 2-sided blue and white flyer. This will show them where the after-school classes are located, what days they meet, what times they meet. Any student at any high school is welcome to request a class at any other high school. That process begins here pretty soon on Monday, February 9th at 8 a.m. High school students can self-request an after-school class, and we make that information really accessible to them by February 2nd. That information, the link or the QR code, will be available on all high school Canvas announcement pages. So students have a chance to look it over, be prepared, think about what class, if any, that they may be interested in for next fall. Again, you can always check back with your College and Career Center and your CGS or Career Guidance Specialist for questions about those after-school classes. And then if we do have any middle school families on here tonight, just a word that if you have a rising 9th grader and your student is interested in after-school class, you will contact your guidance office at your middle school and they can help you request that course for next year. One other program I'd like to mention briefly that's new for this summer is we have our Summer 2026 Building Industry Tech Academy. We're very excited about this new program. It is kind of a summer intensive to give your student experience in hands-on training in a lot of the different areas of residential construction, including electrical, plumbing, those types of areas. It's going to be a bit of a concentrated course that's going to bring your student up to speed and allow them to then participate in an additional class in the beginning of the school year if they're interested. That would meet after school. Right now, we're just collecting information from interested students. We're really excited about this program. It is going to be in partnership with the Simon Builders company. So there's private industry that's partnering with us on this that will really lead to potential opportunities for apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs through the program. So if you're interested, the link is there or the QR code, and we'll be following up with families in a few weeks with more information. I think I've got one more, or maybe 2 more. We've got College at Capo. Another dual enrollment opportunity. You'll learn more about dual enrollment tonight later on. This program specifically brings college classes onto the high school campus. This is also another area we can support your students with. These courses have no cost, including textbooks or fees, and additionally will give a student a chance to explore a certain major. And while this is the spring offerings, we do have fall 2026 coming up soon. We'll make those up, get those out to all of you. And I've got one more. I want to let you know about the career fair coming up on March 23rd. Please save the date. This has been a great event that CCA has done together with CUSD. This year it's going to be at Aliso Niguel High School. In the past, we've had over 70 different exhibitors, all kinds of different employers, potential internship opportunities, connecting to educational opportunities as well. It's a very fun, informal night where you can walk through, see the different exhibitors that would be of interest to you or your students. Bring a resume. We'll have futurology counselors reviewing those throughout the night. So please mark your calendars. No registration required. Just come and visit us between 5 and 7 on the 23rd. And I think that's about it for me. Thank you guys so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Kim. And now we're going to jump into post-secondary pathways, and our graduates at CUSD will move on to all sorts of different pathways after graduation. Some may include going directly into an occupation, a career, work field, military. They will move on to a technical vocational program. Some will move on to a 2-year college with the intention to complete their 2-year degree or certificate and start work immediately. Some will want to transfer to a 4-year. Some of our students will go directly into a 4-year college. Regardless of which path our students aim to take after they graduate, I love this graphic because it really reminds us that there's no single path to a career. Our students, regardless of which pathway they move on to next, can ultimately end up at the career of their choice. And oftentimes it's not a linear process. Some students will go into a specific career and then change into a different career, and that is totally okay. Students can reach advanced degrees regardless of which path they move on to after graduating, and careers are able to get started at any point. Okay, so it's not always just a linear path for our students. Now, in terms of high school graduation and A through G eligibility, we always want to discuss these. And the reason is I always encourage our students, especially in the younger grades in 9th and 10th, that our goal, or at least my goal, is to prepare students so that they are taking the courses that will open up as many options for them come their senior year. So students will start their college applications the fall of their senior year. And then in the spring, they'll start to hear back from colleges and finding out where they're getting admitted to it. And May 1st is when students have to notify the 4-year college of their choice that they will be moving on to that college. And so I always tell students, you really have until May 1st to make that choice of your senior year, May 1st of your senior year. So right now, our goal is to prepare for all options. Come senior year, they can choose which direction they're gonna go. And the best way to make sure that they maintain all options on the table that we just reviewed is by ensuring that they're taking the courses that are gonna get them to be able to apply for admission to 4-year colleges. And so on the left side of the screen, you'll see A through G for CSU and UC admission requirements. So anytime you hear the words A through G, that means that we are talking specifically about public California schools, Cal State and University of California's, UCs. And those requirements are different subjects. And within each subject, the universities have stated, we want high school students to complete a certain amount. So for US history, in order to meet the minimum eligibility requirements to apply to a Cal State or a UC, they must have 2 years of a history, 4 years of English, a minimum of 3 of math, and we highly encourage them to take 4 years. Lab science, students must have 2 years for CSU UC minimum requirements. Foreign language, at least 2 years. Visual art, 1 year, and college prep elective, 1 year. Now, all of these specific courses must be passed with a C or higher. And we oftentimes recommend that they go above and beyond the minimum requirement because depending on the campus that they're applying to and depending on the major, meeting the minimum is not enough. We want them to be as competitive as possible. Another reason that we encourage, for example, students to take that 4th year of math or that 3rd year of science is because oftentimes private and out-of-state schools may ask for those additional years in order to be able to meet the minimum application requirements. And so that 3rd year lab of science is required for a lot of our out-of-state schools, for example. Some colleges may want to see 3 years of a language. And so we always encourage students to challenge themselves and continue to take classes beyond the minimum required for A through G. Now, on the right-hand side, you see a comparison of graduation requirements, and you'll see that a lot of the coursework is very similar. So they will be taking 3 years of US history, world history, and government, 3 years of a history requirement. English, they'll take all 4 years. They do need 3 years to graduate. They need 2 years of science, life science, and a physical science. Now, this is where it changes a little bit for students. The foreign language requirement for graduation, they only need to do one of either a language, a visual performing art, or a career technical education class. One of any of those will meet their graduation requirement. To graduate, they'll need to have 2 years of PE and a semester of health, and then the remainder 65 credits of electives. And so a total of 220 credits is needed for graduation. Whereas when we talk about college admissions, they're not so much focused on credits, they're more so focused on years that students have completed within each subject area. And so just some similarities, but also some differences. One of the biggest ones, they want to make sure that they're passing their courses with a C or higher to maintain their eligibility for four-year college admission. Graduation, as long as they have a D, they're going to get their 5 credits towards their 220 credits. Now here we see a sample transcript. So when students log into their Aries, they can click on transcript and they will see their coursework listed chronologically. Now, when we print a copy of their unofficial or official transcript, it'll look similar to what you're seeing on the screen now. So we see the school year, we see the name of the school that they attended, we see a list of the coursework that they've taken each year, each semester. Anything that has a P to the left of it, it means that it is approved as a college prep class, as an A through G class. Anything with a little asterisk is an honors class. Anything with a little A to the left of it means it's an advanced placement. So this really starts to give you more information about the coursework that the student has taken. Now, we do also see a GPA calculation that is done internally through our system. And I just want to remind everyone, when you apply to college, colleges will determine and recalculate their GPA according to what the college wants to use, that the courses that the student has taken to include in that GPA calculation. So it's a guide for us to know where the student stands generally. And the aim is always to pass our classes with as many A's and B's and at minimum a C for that four-year college eligibility. So now a little bit about college admissions. This graphic that you're seeing here shows us nationwide, when we look at four-year colleges and admissions, we see that a tiny sliver of colleges accept less than 20% of applicants. And if I were to ask students or parents, what colleges are you aiming for? We're probably going to hear them call out the schools that fall within this tiny area. So it's typically those big name brand colleges that everyone knows about. Then we see that we have a slightly larger percentage of colleges will accept students, 30 to 40% of the students that apply to their campuses. But if we take a look at the blue section, the majority of colleges across our nation will accept students, 50% or more of the students who apply to their institutions. And so this is just a reminder that there is a great college out there for everyone. And in fact, majority of our colleges do have a higher than 50% admission rate. So let's try to reframe and reshape our lens when we are thinking of what is a good school. And I often hear students who will mix up or correlate admission rate with, oh, it's a really good school. And that's not always the case. I happened to come across MIT's admissions page. And as I was reading it, a lot of it resonated with me. And I'd like to kind of use this to really frame how we're going to approach the information that we're reviewing today. So this specific text is from the MIT admissions website, and the link is on here. And so it talks about what should students be doing to prepare for college. And so I like to read off some of these sections that I want to highlight. So what you shouldn't do is build your life and your expectations around the narrow goal of trying to get into MIT or any specific college. So you fill in the blank. We want to know what you are passionate about and what is most important to you. not what you think we want to see. And the reason why this really resonated with me is because I get a lot of students and parents who often come and ask, do you think this is a good activity for me to be doing? Do you think this is a good school for me? Do you think I should be doing this? And this is what they want me to do. And I want to take a pause and just remind us that schools are encouraging us to encourage you to do what you really enjoy doing, to do things because you truly find passion in doing them. You look forward to doing that activity, and not so much because you want to check off a box and you think that that's what they want you to do. Okay. And then they go on to state the reality is we admit less than 10% of our applicants. If you set your goal as being admitted to MIT, you're likely to be disappointed. If, however, you set your goals as learning a lot, developing a better sense of yourself, and being a positive influence on those around you, then you can succeed on your own terms and be a better applicant to any college you apply to, including MIT. And so that's the goal. And I just want to again emphasize authenticity matters more than looking impressive. So as you go on through your high school years, you want to be as authentic as possible with the coursework that you're choosing, the extracurriculars that you're choosing to involve yourself in. And also to remember that college admissions is about fit and not so much prestige. Okay, and so as you continue your high school years and you continue to be a part of our webinars, we will continue to touch on information on how to do that college search so that you're identifying colleges that are going to be a great fit for you. Okay, and so I encourage you, visit your college centers, talk to your college counselor at your site. We often do provide information, college admissions information during our goal times, and for sure during our one-on-one meetings with you. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. So we're going to kind of continue the topic of colleges and what they look for when students do apply in a couple years. So although you may think, oh my gosh, my student's in ninth grade, it seems so far away, but the things they do now can affect their admissions, such as grades, class selection, things like that, which currently right now, most of the high schools are in the process of having students select their classes. So these are perfect topics to think about. So when colleges are looking at a student, they're going to review it one of two ways. The first would be academic index. This is going to be where they look mostly at grades, if they accept standardized tests like SAT or ACT, your course rigor. So did you take 4 years of math versus 3? Did you take Spanish or foreign language? Things like that. So how many of each subject did you take? Did you do the minimum or did you go beyond? And then on the other side of that, it's holistic review. This would be similar with academic index where they do grades, test scores, course rigor. But in addition, they add extracurricular activities, so that resume, volunteer work, sports, all the things students do outside of their classwork. They also look at college essays, letters of recommendation, and potentially an interview. Less common, but they still have interviews. But this is a good way to kind of frame what you're going to do for the next couple of years. So jumping forward to testing, this is a tricky question sometimes because over the last few years, the testing policies have changed. So how do you keep up with it? Maybe you've had an older student that had to take the test, they were required, etc. So currently, the Cal States and UCs do not require a test, whether it's ACT or SAT, which is nice. And they have said that they're not really looking to bring it back. And if they do, it would be years in the future. So like you would have plenty of time to adjust. So that shouldn't be an issue for those two systems. But some other schools, like private schools or out-of-state schools, may require it. So there are different versions. Some schools require it. So obviously that would be something included on the application. Another option would be a school stating the test is optional. So that means you can include it if you want, or you don't have to include it, but you're never going to be negatively impacted if you don't include it. It can only help you. Or test blind or test free where they don't use tests. For example, the UC system is test blind. So is it beneficial to take the test? There are a couple of reasons. We could keep your options open. So as a ninth grader, you don't know maybe where you want to apply. So this will allow you to, keep your options open for out of state, in-state, etc. It could also be used to help with scholarships. Excuse me. Many scholarships or financial aid offers could be attached to things like grades or test scores, so that may be a factor. And so when you're thinking about if you want to take a test, ACT, colleges don't have a preference. They both can be used. Either is good. So the benefit of taking a practice test to see which one you liked better would be a good idea. And then if your scores are above the average for optional scores, we suggest you send those in. But if you're not sure, those are conversations we can have as you and your student kind of develop your plan for testing. We have free resources through the district for practice SAT and ACT. So those are things we can send out. We do include them in the newsletters usually each month. But if you are interested, you can stop by the Career Center or email your counselor and we can send you how to take a practice SAT or ACT. All right, sweet. So what are colleges really looking for? So like Ms. Davila said in the other slide, that pie chart, there are a wide range of schools with acceptances, but majority of them are pretty accepting. They have a large acceptance range for students, which is because we do tend to hear of the schools that have 5%, 10% acceptance range. And so a lot of people get disheartened, but there are actually way more schools in the opposite side of that. So when schools are looking at a student, how do they compare to their in their context? So they're comparing them to their high school, what they have to take advantage of. For example, if your school does not offer IB, they cannot discredit you for not taking it. Or if your school doesn't offer a certain elective. So they're going to look at your school profile and kind of see how your classes and what you have to offer on your high school campus, are you taking advantage of that? So they're going to look at your college prep courses. So are you taking multiple levels of math, science, etc.? They're going to look at your high school grades. So they'll see your transcript for all the grades, but certain years are more important than others. For example, the UC and Cal State system, they use your GPA from 10th and 11th grade as part of their admissions, but they do see all 4 years of coursework. They look at rigor. So yourself, did you take harder classes when you had them available? So there's not always a perfect answer of like, should you take so many APs or not, but taking classes that you're interested in, expanding your knowledge is always a good idea. And if you're not sure which classes to take, this is a great time as we're in course selection season to talk to your current teacher, see if they recommend you or your student for a higher level or to test out an elective AP class. So definitely chat with your counselor or your teachers to get that feedback. They also look at character. So this can be shown through essays, your resume of activities, letters of rec. One big thing that we wanted to highlight, love of learning. This is seen through your activities or your classwork. So for example, if you are going to be applying as a science major and you're in a science program, you're in science clubs, you've done some science research, you've taken electives on campus to go beyond the minimum requirements. Do the reader of your application get a sense that you love your subject? Do they get a sense that you're actively trying to expand that subject? And so that can be said for any subject. And if you or your student are having a hard time, like, how do I connect to a certain major? That's when you can stop by, talk to your college and career counselor, and we can kind of give you some ideas of what your student might be able to do. All right, so beyond their traditional core subjects, what are other ways students can enhance their profile academically? Great grades are kind of what the colleges look for, but beyond that, how do they differentiate? They look at other factors. So did you take advantage of electives on your campus? So if you're going to go into a program that is engineering based, did you take advantage of any of our ROP classes? We have robotics or aviation, things like that, or business. If you're going to be a business major, we have a business class. So things like that also count towards high school graduation, which is nice. And it's to explore. Maybe you're not sure if you like business. You could take our business class. Maybe you're not sure if you like culinary. You could take our culinary class. So it's an easy way to explore without having to commit once you're in college and spend a lot of money. We also have our CCA courses. So I kind of mentioned those already, but the after school classes or during our school day, those are all great electives. So if you have seen the schedule, definitely take a look and see if there's any that fit with your student's schedule. We have a ton in Bell. So we, for example, at Dana Hills, we have science related ones, sports medicine, we have fashion design, culinary arts, we have a ton of offerings. All the high schools have a ton of inbuilt offerings that students can, choose from. But the after school classes are another great way too. Students can take the EMT class, fire science, robotics, so they can learn and get more certifications. These classes are also A through G approved, so you can be on track for those admissions requirements as well. Another cool option is community college. So community college is really cool because one, they have a lot of course offerings that maybe we don't have at the high, but they also have a lot of classes offered online. So it's really conducive to a student's schedule. It could be during fall or spring or summer. So kids can fit it in when they have a little more free time. If they know fall is a heavy sports season for them, then they could take a spring class. They technically will be able to earn college credits, and these courses can be used on their college application. So for example, they can potentially meet an A through G requirement. They can also show expanding like their level of learning. They can show that they're taking higher level classes. So it's really nice, especially courses we don't offer on campus. And if you have questions about taking a class at Saddleback or community college, I recommend coming to the Career Center and we can help you because the process has a few steps to make sure you do it completely. Alrighty, so beyond academics, how can a student focus on their extracurriculars? What are some easy ways maybe that don't take up so much time? Or if you're not sure, like what do you do? Where do you start? So these are just a few examples of things students can take advantage of. The first one is open online courses. This is a way to take classes. A lot of times they're through public institutions. So like you can take classes through Harvard or Yale. They're short courses, they're free on really unique random topics. Sometimes it's very specific to your major, which is cool. You can test out things in engineering or business, econ, whatever you're interested in, and just a way to show that you're learning. YouTube or podcasts, so learning how to actually do something. For example, learning how to edit videos or photos, learning how to do other stuff, even start your own podcast. Just some, tips and tricks. Summer programs, we have a summer resource on the right side of the screen. You'll have access to this slideshow via email in the next day or so, so you'll be able to click on these. This is a Google Doc that we created with summer programs through local area organizations. So some of them are colleges, some of them are businesses that host programs for high. Some are free, some are at cost, but it's a good idea to look through. It's not required that a student does a summer program that costs money to get into a university. These are just extra resources. If a student does not have the opportunity to do something over summer like that, there are lots of other ways. For example, volunteering in their local community. They have clubs on campus that you can volunteer, and they do weekly, monthly volunteer activities. For example, we have clubs on campus that organize beach cleanups or the blood drive, things like that. So you can volunteer within your campus or on your own outside as well. So these are a few links off to the side that show volunteer opportunities. So your student can get started if they have not already. So as you're thinking about kind of the middle end of this current year, so whether you're in 9th or 10th grade, what should you be doing? So we always want to focus on academics. Excuse me. But in addition to academics, like what are some other ways to understand themselves, their future like goals and career related aspirations? So we have different activities that we do through the high school. So for example, personality inventory, we can kind of evaluate how a student's personality might match with careers, learning style. We have a resource which we'll show you in a few minutes where there's learning style quizzes so you can see how you'd be successful in certain types of fields, developing study skills. As you go through the year, focus on career goals, maybe explore through those CTE courses we have to offer. Job shadow, if you know anybody in a certain field you like, your parents or a family member, so that way you can start taking classes in those fields to develop more interest. If you're able to take medical related classes, so you can confirm like, yes, I really like this, or oh no, I don't, I'm scared of blood, so actually no, I don't want to do anything medical related. Eventually that will help you your junior and senior year be more confident when you're picking a major in a college. So this is just a short timeline, or excuse me, not timeline, a kind of list of things to think about as a 9th grader or 9th grade family. understanding your basic high school, college admissions requirements, start 4-year planning. So that's where you pick your classes. If you are interested in attending a 4-year, making sure you kind of understand how many math classes you might need to take, if you need to take the SAT, things like that. You know, if you haven't already been able to be successful with your study skills, now is the chance, because 9th grade, you still have some time to improve in your courses. If you ever need to retake something, you have plenty of time at this point. CCA classes, after school classes, that's great to help with career exploration, self-exploration, kind of goes in, you know, they go hand in hand, being able to understand, is it something you personally like, a certain field? And also just start or continue your extracurriculars. So whether it's through school, classes, volunteering, sports, things like that. So just being involved on campus or is always a good idea. And then same for 10th grade, kind of similar, just making sure you're on track with your A through G requirements after you've passed 9th grade, and then you've had 1 semester of 10th grade under your belt. Update your 4-year plan. Maybe you've changed your mind. Maybe you've decided, okay, I want to focus on this career or this option. So that way you can kind of make sure all your classes meet those goals. Continue taking any CTE classes so you can get your pathway completer, whether it's taking 2 or 3 courses through CCA. So that way you can do more career major exploration, maybe a practice SAT or ACT. And same, continue with any extracurriculars, if not adding more. But yeah, making sure you're reaching out to your college and career center if you are not sure of any of these items, so that way you are always able to stay on track and up to date on whatever it is you need. So we are lucky to have a community college right down the road. We have Saddleback, but you can take any community college if it's online, but community college students or high school students tend to take whatever's local. So most of our students go through Saddleback, but if you are interested in taking a dual enrollment class, basically it's when a student takes a community college class while they're in high school. So you can earn college credit, and oftentimes it may even earn high school credit, like elective credit or something else. The cool thing is you can earn college credit in high school, and it's free. High school students can take community college courses for free. So that is really nice, save some money. And you can test out if it's for you. These college classes are college level, right? So see if your student is, mature enough and get exposure to what a college course is like. So that way, when they do commit to a 4-year, they feel pretty confident, and explore more career interests, because they have a lot of cool classes that maybe don't exist in the high school world right now. So really cool coding classes, higher level business classes, unique site classes. So electives that students can take advantage of. So a couple of reminders if you are interested in taking a dual enrollment course, or your student is. So just things to think about. College classes are part of the college system, so they are following their rules. So for example, drop deadlines, things like that are based on the college. These are permanent grades on your college transcript. So if you start a class and you just don't go anymore, it will be on your transcript. So we want to make sure students are mature enough to understand that it is permanent. And so that way they don't just kind of, I'll take care of it later and I'll redo it later. It's something to take seriously. Most of our students take community college classes. They do great, but it's just a commitment. It is a challenge because as a college student, the communication is with the student, not necessarily the parents, like it is in high school. So that's a little different. And then not all courses transfer to college, depending on which course they select. So that's something about, or your college counselor at the Saddleback Community College can answer that. And then we also have a CUSD external course form. This is something that the high school is requiring students. It's on all of our guidance page for each high school. So if you are going to take a community college class, we just want to know so we can track and make sure we understand what you're taking and you understand the policies and so and so. So if you are interested, which we do have a ton of students take advantage of this, you can stop at the College and Career Center and we can help you walk you through that process, find a class you might like, and make sure everything goes smoothly. And then this is just a screenshot of the dual enrollment forms for Saddleback. So if you're interested in going to Saddleback, for example, they have their steps listed online, which we also have them linked on our guidance pages for each of the high schools too. So that way you can connect that way as well.
Awesome. And I know I often get the question, what's the difference between college at Capel and then taking a class through dual enrollment with Saddleback? And I just want to remind you, we do have the College at Capel program, which means that students are taking community college courses, but they're doing it on their high school campus. And so any class that you do through College at Capel is being done on campus at the high school campus, and students are sitting in a classroom with their peers, their high school peers, versus if they were to take a class on their own directly through Saddleback, they are fully immersed in the college campus, taking coursework with college students. So that's just one of the distinctions. And if you're interested in learning more about that, please visit our College and Career Center, contact one of the college counselors or one of your CCA career specialists. So now we're going to jump a little bit to resources. So what are some resources that are available to you and your student? So definitely you have a team of individuals, educators who are available to support parents and students. We have our high school counselors, right? Our high school counselors in the guidance offices who are available to meet with students about academic, social, emotional types of questions or supports. We also have our career guidance specialists. So you met Ms. Summer Yin today, and we have an entire team at some of our other sites. And they are here to provide more career, in-depth career information. They support with resumes and just exploring different career options. We have teachers on campus who are the experts on their academic, within their academic fields. And so definitely make sure that you include them in this whole process when you're considering different fields of study or potential future careers. And especially right now that we're going through the whole academic planning process. So a lot of our high schools are working with 9th through 11th graders on completing their academic plans and talking about what coursework should they be taking going forward. And so include those teachers and ask questions. What should I expect if I decide to take that honors English class or the AP history class, and take all of that information into consideration as you're planning your coursework. As we've discussed through this presentation, it is important to take coursework that is going to be a good fit for your child, that's going to be manageable, that they're going to enjoy and be successful in. And then, of course, you have your futurology counselor, your college and career counselor on each campus to provide very in-depth support. We can meet with your child one-on-one. We can look over their college list. We can work backwards. And if they have a career in mind, we can identify some potential majors that they want to explore, some campuses that have the major they're interested in. And so you have an entire team available. Another great resource is californiacolleges.edu. Every one of our students in our district has an account through californiacolleges.edu. The best way to access the student account is by having them go through their Chromebook. So they can open up the Chromebook. They would click on the Clever app that is already embedded in their Chromebook. And then from there, they'll find the californiacolleges.edu app. And so this little symbol with the blue arrows, it identifies californiacolleges.edu. And so when they click on that, and they're doing that from their Chromebook, Clever, California Colleges, they'll automatically be logged in to their californiacolleges.edu. Once they're logged in, they have access to a college search tool where they can select the criteria that they're looking for in a college, the size, the location, the major, and it'll generate a list of schools that fit that criteria. They can also save their searches so that they can always go back and continue to narrow down their college list. They can also do career assessments. And so in the 9th and 10th grade especially, that's where we want to focus our time, is I try to understand and know who we are as learners, as students, and to start identifying what would be a good potential future career goal for the student. And so californiacolleges.edu has multiple career assessments that students can take, and it'll generate a list of careers that might be a good fit based on their responses. They can research those careers, they can save them so that they can always go back and continue to learn about that potential career. We also, as Mr. Ngifo mentioned earlier, we have this spreadsheet posted on our Futureology webpage. When you get this presentation in your email, you will be able to click on the links that are embedded and you'll be able to see the spreadsheet that we have up there as of now. And so this spreadsheet does include summer programs within different fields. So at the bottom of the spreadsheet, you'll see different tabs. You'll see a business tab, a STEM tab, a medical tab, so that you can look through different programs that fall within a specific, career or area of study. And so I do encourage you to take a look at those. And once again, if a student is able to participate in one of these, that is great. I think it's a great opportunity for students to not just get a sense of what being in that field of study is going to be like, and to continue to grow their learning and understanding of that field. But it's also a great opportunity if the program is being held on a college campus. It's a great opportunity for the student to get a taste of what it will be like to be a student at that campus. And so that, I think, is a valuable experience. But just because you do a specific program at a specific campus doesn't mean that it's going to be an automatic yes when you apply. It's an opportunity for your child to continue to grow and learn and gain a new experience that might be a powerful one for them. Now, if students can't find a summer program that really matches their needs, just remember community college is always a great option to take a free course and learn something new related to their major or career goals, or continue to explore if they're not quite sure yet. So perfect timing. We have about 10 minutes to answer any questions that you might have. So I'm going to go through this, and I'm just going to start off with the first one. Oh, yay, we got a little round of applause. So are you going to share this presentation and emails? Yes, we will be sending out the recording of this webinar. We've recorded the presentation. We will send you the PDF because we do have quite a bit of links embedded in the presentation. So when you get that PDF file, you'll be able to click on the links. And yes, we most definitely can share our emails with you, of all three of us who are here today. So Ms. Rengifo is here tonight and Ms. Summer Yim representing CCA. Let's see, what else? We don't have that many questions. Ms. Yim, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Do you mind sharing your email?
I responded, can you not, if you scroll down, I put the emails for all the CGSs and their school sites, if you scroll down in the comments.
Yeah, if you take a look at the Q&A section, then Ms. Yim already added everyone within the CCA program, their contact information, their emails. You'll see Ms. Bell, Ms. Ikes, Ms. Yim, Ms. Furlick at each of the campuses and their emails. So thank you so much for doing that, Ms. Yim. Any other questions? Feel free to throw them in the Q&A section. We were hoping to get done early so that we can answer any questions you may have and be able to do that live. Because I know sometimes when I sit in on webinars, I may be getting dinner ready, and so I'm trying to listen, and there's great questions happening, but if they're being typed, it's hard to know what's going on. And so I love to share that while we are still live. So let's see, the next question. Oh, where do we find the College at Capel courses offered at each school site? Great question. Ms. Yim?
Yes, so and probably in a few weeks to a month, we will post the listing of what's offered for fall. Typically, the last few semesters, we've had a course at Capo, a course at San Juan Hills, and a course at San Clemente High School, and then an online course that's open to students from all the high schools. So that info for fall will be coming in probably about 3 weeks.
Yeah, and remember, the College at Capel courses are on the Saddleback schedule. So when you're in college, you register for courses the term before. So yes, keep an eye out for the courses that will be available next fall on your high school campus for those College at Capel courses. Now, the next question is, if they take a foreign language class at Saddleback, go a semester, what does it count as for high school? Okay, so I think this question might be having, like, it's more referencing the college admissions. Like, what does it meet for college admissions requirements. And the reason I say that is graduation requirements for high school purposes must be completed at the high school. And so I'm kind of taking this question as what does it count as when students are trying to apply to college? And so if a student takes a Saddleback course, for example, let's pretend it's language one, Spanish one, or French one. For when they apply for college admissions to Cal States and UC specifically, a level 1 course is the equivalent of 2 years at the high school level. But that is how the Cal States and UCs will consider a 1 semester level 1 language other than English course at a community college. Now, some colleges will want to see, that's not part of the Cal State or UC system, will want to see 2 years worth of a class. And so if a student opts to take a Saddleback language, I always recommend take a second course at Saddleback then, because we want to make sure that you at minimum have those 2 years, full 2 courses. And then if you're applying to privates or out of states, I would recommend go on and take a third one just to show that you definitely challenged yourself. Then Ms. Rengifo, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Not really, but I can take a couple other questions too. So I see one. If you have questions about like anything we talked about, dual enrollment, Saddleback classes, college at Capital, all of these types of things, it may sound confusing and there's so many terms. If you have any questions, you or your student can always come to the College and Career Center. Parents, you can send us all an email and we'll get your question answered or send it to the right contact, whether it's us or somebody else. So students have access to the College and Career Center every day during breaks, lunches, flex time, or tutorial period, whatever it's called at your campus. We all have links where we can make individual appointments. So we will email that to you as well when we chat with, or excuse me, when we send that over in the next day or so. So you'll have all of our emails. And then the next question, somebody asked about the summer enrollment at Saddleback. When does it open and is there a deadline? So there's no official deadlines for enrolling in classes because technically you can enroll like up until the day before it starts if there's room. That's the difference. In high school, we kind of plug you in and we make it work. But in college, if the class has 30 spots and it gets to full 30 seats, they won't add you. So the typical enrollment window for summer, the schedule usually is released February, mid-February. It's not open yet, but in the next couple of days or early February, it's usually posted. So students can actually apply for summer right now. And then in a couple weeks, they'll see the schedule. So you can apply without knowing which class you want to take. So I would recommend they even apply for summer. And then in a couple weeks, they can review the schedule, see if it's something that works with them.
Another question says, my 9th grader has met with her counselor. She was provided info on dual enrollment. Can we get help on signing up for this? Most definitely. If you need help with the dual enrollment process, following those steps, getting all that good information in a timely manner, schedule an appointment with one of your college counselors and or one of our CCA career specialists. And yes, you can, we will support you and your student with that application process.
Another question says, can a student take health the summer before 9th grade? Yes, I would talk to your 8th grade counselor to get enrolled for health. And then Saddleback, yes, Saddleback is technically open to all grades. It's called a K-12 form, so kindergarten through 12th grade. I don't know anybody in kindergarten taking Saddleback classes, but technically you can do that in 8th grade, no problem. So if you are currently in 8th grade or your student is in 8th grade, I would chat with your your middle school counselor. If they cannot answer your questions, you can always reach out to your next high school's Futureology counselor and we can get you in the right direction. But yeah, totally.
Let's see. Okay, next question that I'm seeing. What do colleges typically prefer to see? A student taking AP courses, honors, or college courses? Well, colleges will often want the students to take advantage. They're going to compare them to their peers, right, at their high school. So they're going to look at, did the student take advantage of the courses that were available at their school site? And so I definitely recommend looking at what's available in your high school that you are interested in. And if it is a course that is an honors, AP, IB, or one of the college at Capel courses, take advantage of that. And I also recommend to students and parents, make sure that you are taking into consideration the students' what responsibilities they have outside of school, extracurriculars. We want to make sure that they are taking a realistic course load that they can manage, reasonably manage. We want the student to first and foremost be a student, be healthy and happy. And so definitely taking into consideration not just academics, but also what other responsibilities that does a student have that they are responsible for. And if the student feels comfortable and confident in taking those additional AP Honors IB, then they most definitely should. Now, in terms of how the colleges perceive them, they are all considered advanced level. So honors courses are considered advanced level. AP courses are essentially teaching the curriculum that students would most likely learn at an introductory level college course. And it's taught in an entire school year rather than in one semester. Now, the students who take AP classes will be able to take an exam at the end of the school year in May to demonstrate their understanding of the material. And if they pass the exam, then they could potentially earn college credit in the future. And in terms of college courses, it's a college level course. And if it is transferable and the student passes it with a C or higher, then it shows that the student was able to challenge themselves, took a rigorous coursework. And so they, in the eyes of the admissions world, they're all a way of demonstrating that the student is challenging themselves. So I wouldn't necessarily say that one has more weight than the other. I think the plus is about taking the AP course in preparation for taking that AP exam and passing that exam is that you could potentially earn college credit. And then taking the course at a community college, the plus is you could potentially earn that college credit if you pass it with a C or higher. Okay, let's see. Do you
I'll
want to jump in?
take, yeah, I see a couple. I'm trying to read them and answer like groups of them. Somebody asked about the CSU direct admissions program, and can you explain real quick? So the cool thing is this is a new program. Students can be directly admitted or like pre-admitted to a CSU campus. They do not, it does not work for all of the campuses, but I think it was 16 out of the 22 campuses participate. So if somebody's interested in like SDSU or Cal Poly SLO, unfortunately they were not part of it, but the other 6 share that link with you in our follow-up email. If you met your A through G requirements and had that minimum of 2.0 or higher GPA, you would be directly admitted to one of those 16 campuses if you applied. So it could be Cal State, Monterey Bay, Chico State, Fresno State, other things like that. And it's depending on major. So like nursing, engineering might not participate, but it's a really cool program. It's in its first year this year. So we've actually had seniors this year that took part of it, which is really exciting.
Very exciting. So keep an eye out when your child is a senior. That is definitely, it's great to see students come in with that excitement in their face that they were automatically accepted somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, next question, Ms. Yim, here's a question for you. CCA courses state that you must be 16 by spring semester, but what if I want to take the course, but will turn 16 at the end of the semester?
Great question. In that situation, the student would need to wait for the following year to take that specific course. There's a few classes where the requirement is for the fall semester. There's an internship course that's offered in the fall that the requirement is 16 by the start of fall semester. Otherwise, that 16 age requirement comes into place for spring because that's when the internship portion of the course would start. And that's a very firm date that the 16 needs to be reached before the start of the semester. Lots of good other options though.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to take maybe 2 more questions and then we'll wrap it up. The question I see here, does taking art history in 10th grade fulfill the requirement for 1 year of history? So if a student takes 1 semester at a community college, it is a transferable course. And, depending on the title of the course, I would recommend look up on Assist. Is it transferable to a Cal State UC? And that for college application reasons for Cal State and UCs, that course, as long as it's transferable to a Cal State UC, then it would meet the 1 year of the F visual and performing art requirement. But if you want to just make sure what the class that you took, come see one of us. We can look it up to just confirm. And then can a current 8th grader take Saddleback classes this summer? And so yes, students as young as in elementary can take coursework through Saddleback. And so if you are interested, we do encourage you to visit the Saddleback dual enrollment website. And they do outline the steps to follow if your child is interested in taking a Saddleback course. There are 2 forms on there. There is the form that 9th through 12th graders would complete, and then a form that a middle school student would need to complete. So definitely take a look at that. All right, well, thank you so much for being a part of this presentation. Again, we will email out the recording of the presentation along with the PDF slides so that you can click on those links. And we look forward to having you join us at our next Futurology webinar. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.